Okay,
Oh,
let's try that.
well, that's green now.
Yeah, but
So-
that's the mic. That'll be picking up one of these camera ones. It's going to be one of those stupid echoey ones again.
Okay, we'll turn that one off. And
Okay, right. Well, Okay, so is that okay, guys? Got
is that
yeah.
a good sound?
It's echoey. So if we go over here, it's probably like. Is it louder? Can hear you swearing. Sorry. Stupid thing. Right. Okay. Some sound is working, so we'll just go with that.
Okay. I know. The tech would have been, we moved it from there to give it a home here, so we didn't have to keep resetting it. It's been worse here for some reason. Right, today we were talking about the retreat. I went to tell I went to tell Linda a story from the retreat. I was doing a demo. We did a crazy patchwork demo, and when I lose my words and everything, there's all these people behind me giving me the words that I needed at the store. Where are you on my 1 o'clock? And Jean turned round and said, we are yelling at you when you were on the 1 o'clock. So keep it up, okay? If you know what I'm talking about, that's all good. It's when I come up with the different words to what you've been yelling at me, I suppose, is where we lose you. So we're doing a mixer cover. It's been on my Pinterest I want to do for ages, and I have to keep washing my mixer, for making cakes and everything. I have to wash it down every time I want to use it because I don't use it very often. So I thought I'll make a mixer cover. So that's what we're doing. It's really quick. I was going to do piping and everything. I've actually already quilted it, so we're just going to go from the beginning, okay? So what was it? It was 2, wasn't it? So,
yes, to raffle.
Raffle. We're going to do a raffle this weekend, so keep an eye out for it. You've got to be fast when you do it. Jean, are you home? That was what I asked right at the beginning. Have you managed to get home? But everybody says the sound is fine, so we're just gonna. I've lost. Oh, there we are. So we're there. Right. Okay. We're going to the overhead, which was 2. Now I'm using this beautiful batik. Somebody used it on their snail quilt the other day, and I thought, oh, I need a bit of that. I've just got calico on the back, and as you can see, I've already quilted it. I think if I had no time restraints, I would have maybe, this is a 2-inch gap, I might have done a 1-inch. It would make it stiffer. The more quilting you put into it, the stiffer it's going to be. But it should stand up. Well, it's going to go over the mixer. It doesn't matter whether it stands up or not, does it? Right. I started off by measuring my mixer. Okay. So I measured it from the worktop up and over the mixer, and I got 28 inches. Okay. I then measured from front to back and got 17 inches, and then I measured height and width at the bowl end and got 12 by 12. Okay, so that's what we're cutting. Now this piece that I have here needs to be 28 long by 17 wide. Now I actually cut it at 30 long for quilting. I cut it at 30, yeah, just over 30 long, and it's what is it? 20 or so wide. Okay. So we're now going to cut this down, and we are going to use a big ruler and a rotary cutter. So we want it to be, what was I saying, 28. So if I take that end piece and put it up here. I'm just going to cut, I'm going to cut 28 and a half. We're going to lose, no we're not going to lose any of it that way. So it needs to be 28 going that way, alright? Because I'm not actually going to lose anything in seam allowance going that way. So I'm going to cut it at 28. Okay, so I don't need that piece. And I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to, I can see where that line is then, can't I? And I'm going to make sure that I am at 28. There we go. Like that. And trim it all off. Now, it's one of those things that is more simple than you think it's going to be. If you have never done a cover for your machine, you would work in exactly the same way. Okay, so that should be straight. I don't know whether my stitching is going to be straight, but really it's tucked right in the corner and I don't mind. Okay, so there we are. I folded it in half just for ease. Okay, and we now want this to be 17. Yes, we want this one to be 17. Now I'm going to lose about half an inch on one side and half an inch on the other. So we're going to cut it at 17 and 18. We're going to cut it at 18. So we need to make sure that I have enough to cut off. So I'm going to cut this there, like that. Okay, and I'm using the mat because it's an inch mat. I'm using the mat as a guide. So we're going to take that right to the edge and I'm lining that up and we're going to cut 18. Okay. Because I'm going to lose some on the edges. Like that. Okay, so I now have a 28 by 18. Alright, in that one. Are you still with me? Okay. Everything alright? Hey Leslie, how you doing? It's piddling down here. Right, these two need to be 12 by 12. So I could use the square because it's 12 and a half. So I'm just going to cut out 12 and a half. Do I need 12 and a half? Yes, because I'm going to lose half an inch all the way round. So I'm going to cut out 12 and a half and we're going to take a corner off it. Okay, so I'm just placing that in there. I'll do that. Oh, there we are, that's perfect. I'm just going to cut 12 and a half out. Okay, stand up. That. Turn it round. And we want one for the front and one for the back. And we could get away with just one for the front and leave the back open. You could do that because it's against a wall, you know, when it's packed away. So I now have a 12 and a half by 12 and a half, which will go up that way. And we want another one. Okay, so I'm doing it so that I've got some of my quilting in there. Okay, up, along. I mean, I've just done straight line quilting, but you could quilt in any way whatsoever. I did it last night so that you weren't watching me just go up and down with quilt lines because I wasn't doing anything dramatic. I mean, I cut a metre of fabric, and I've got all of this out and still some left to go in my petite drawer. Right, now these two pieces here, I want them to have a curve. I just thought it would be nice. My mixer is smaller on the top than it is with the bowl, so I just thought I'm going to take the curve off. Okay, so I've put them like that, and I've got my, what is it, an 11-inch, which is about dinner plate size. Okay, and I'm just going to line it so that it goes up into the corner and is level with on either side. Okay, and we're just going to, you could draw this and then cut it with my fingers. I think there's a nick in this rotary blade because it's missing each time. Right, okay, so we're going to measure it up into that corner, get it so that it all meets, and then cut it off again. Like I say, dinner table, dinner plate. A dinner table? That would be a really big one, wouldn't it? Right. There we go. So we have a nice curve. Smart, isn't it? Right. This is the difficult bit. We're going to take one of our pieces, and we are hoping that it is now going to fit. Because I've not measured this in the slightest. Okay, so I'm putting them right sides together. I'm going to sew around the edge, and then we are going to create a false binding. So I've levelled it up on here, and I am really hoping that this is going to fit. Because if it doesn't fit, then I'm going home. Because I'm going to have to rethink it. I've got some nice bits of she's lost all her clips. I'm going to have to get Sarah some clips. Oh, there's a box of clips, look, right in front of me. I remembered. I remembered! She's yelling at me from the kitchen.
I put a little notice up for you.
Where?
No, I'll put a little notice up for you.
Yeah.
Here. Clips here.
Yeah.
Number 1 is this. Number 2 is overhead.
Yeah, we get there in the end, don't we, kids? So, this is not going to reach. Oh, bugger. I obviously have not worked out the curve. I'm about, look at that. I'm about short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out. Do you know, I do hate it when this happens, and it happens more than you think. Right, I'm going to mark my middle here. Right, I'll put my middle there. Welcome to the School of Sarah Jane Sewing. And I'm going to mark that in the middle there. Right, and we're going to marry that up. There. Like that. And we're going to come from there down. Okay. See, this is doing these things when you're tired and no time. Right, on here. Do you think maybe the amount that I've cut off would have probably, yeah, the amount that I've cut off would have been perfect. Perhaps I should have left it and cut it off at the end. I think you never know, eh? For all you mathematicians out there yelling and saying that they could have predicted that. So we're just clipping this into place, and I'm going to sew it down. Really, the technique that I wanted to show you was, I've done this on purpose to show you that curves take up more than straight edges. So the technique that I'm actually trying to show you here is how we make this faux piping. So I've put it on there like that. I've got a bit of this bit here is gonna, we might chop that off, maybe. And it might not come to the counter, which will be fine. It'll be fine. But we'll sew this down and we can cut it off after. Right, I'm just going to sew about 1/4 of an inch along here. So we're going to go over to the machine. Right, okay, so here we are at the machine. I brought my own cotton this time. So we're going to sew about 1/4 of an inch. I'm not using a 1/4 inch foot, I'm just picking a point on here because when we fold it over we will enclose all this raw edge. So we went to the retreat. Guess which dingbat forgot her sewing machine? I left that in my kitchen. I've always got to forget something. So that sounds as if it's going to have problems. So I'm going to take it up to a 3, give that a go. Sounds a bit better. Sounds like a Gatling gun quite so much. Have I got it? I remember to put my stripes of my quilt in. Remember to put those long ways on both of them. Look at that. So yeah, just sewing this in now. It's quite a bit of bulk because you've got 2 bits of wadding and 4 bits of fabric. So I'm just making sure that it's all level as we go round. We're just coming around the curve. Now if you wanted to make it posh, you could have put piping in. And like I say, just by measuring anything that you want to cover, you just measure all the angles and you can make a cover for anything. You could have all these pretty, you could even quilt a piece, you know, use your orphan blocks to make one. I haven't put a pocket on this one because I don't need a pocket for my mixer. For if I was doing my sewing machine cover, I put pockets on so that I could put my foot in it if I was taking it anywhere. There is a pattern up for the sewing machine cover on the website. I think you can download it. If not, if you want one, just let me know. We did a class, you know, a Zoom class. It was one of the first Zoom classes we did, was a sewing machine cover. There we go. Right, back over here. So I've sewn this all the way around it at 1/4 inch. We're now going to fold it over. Ow! Take the pin out. Fold it over like that. And we have a nice, beautiful seam. You see how it's gone round the corners beautifully. It's just a shame about this, really, isn't it? So, what I'm going to do now, because, I mean, you can leave a raw edge. There's no reason why you can't leave a raw edge. It's going to be on the inside, you're not going to see it. But because I want to show you this technique, we're going to roll our edges to make sure that the seam is nicely sorted. And we are going to put clips on there to hold it in place. And then we are going to sew again in a top stitch. So I'm going to increase my stitch. I think the one I've got on there now is a 4. We're going to increase it to a 4 and then do it like a top stitch, which will enclose this the seam and give you like a faux piping edge while enclosing your seams. Around here. So it's bank holiday coming out. How lush is that? Mind you, we work from home on a Monday. I've got a feeling that unless we decide to go away, do something for the weekend, you know, over the weekend. I've got my girls coming on Sunday for brunch and playing. So we are play some games. I want to wash the other patio because it's my birthday the following weekend, and I'd like to be able to sit outside if the weather's going to be nice. Is the weather going to be nice for the coronation? Right, so you can see how it's going to turn out. We're now going to top stitch all the way around enough that it's going to enclose this seam. Now the seam comes to about there, okay, inside. So we need to make sure that it's a bit more. So I'm going to go to the edge of foot and take it. So we're doing this, all right? Okay, so number 4. Back over here. So I'm going to use edge of foot. I'm going to make sure that it's not. Where's the other? Start the other side. Yeah, start the other side so I can see where I start and end. So if I put that there on the edge like that, I'm going to put an end stitch there, and we're going to up it. I think it was a 4. It definitely likes when you put the stitch up. It makes it feel like it's not working quite so hard. Adjusting all my fabric as I'm going to make sure that it's not all bunched up. Even if you only do a few stitches, and then make sure that you're pulling it down underneath. So we had a lovely retreat. It was beautiful. We had we did have a bit of sun, but the rest of the time it rained and rained and rained. But then why would you want it to be bright sunny weather when you're inside sewing? Might as well have the rain and keep the sunny weather for a day when you can be in your garden. But it's a beautiful gardens there if you wanted to go for a walk. We've opened up the April retreat. Zipfoot. Yes, you could, but I don't want it to be close. Jean, I want to be able to create an edge. But a zipper foot, if you want it to be close to the edge, is not a bad shout. But I want it to create an edge. So, oh, you made the machine cover. Yeah, I mean, you could just make it flat and put ties on it as well. Yes, we did a couple of machine cover classes of different varying techniques. What was I saying? Oh yeah, April. We've opened the April retreat up now. So if you did fancy doing it, then if you give us a ring and we can give you more details. Okay. So, over here. Yeah, I think I need to bring myself to the retreat. Yes, that'll be next year maybe. Right, see. So now you can see I've got a faux edge on it, which also helps it to stand up. Alright. So you just repeat that now on the other side. Okay. But before we do, I'm going to trim this off so that it is of the same width all the way down. So I'm about 1.5 inches. If I go from 1.5 inches, I'm about 1.5 inches too short on this bit, which, looking at it, is about what I cut off. So, what did I say? I cut it at 20. I cut it at 28 because I said that is all I needed. So if I'd have left it at 30, it's not even. We're going to cover that. See, I've cut off a straight piece, but I obviously didn't measure it properly up this end. Never mind. It's going to look lush. I'm going to stop worrying about it. It's going to look lush. Okay, so there's my centre. There. If you get it perfect each time, you won't make any others, will you? And we'll go there, and that's my centre point there. So, where's my centre? Yeah, and we want right sides together, don't we? Okay, so we're just going to repeat all of that now. What time is it? 1:30. Okay. So we're going to clip this in like I did before from the centre piece. Like that. And we're going to re-sew this side. So what else did we do? We did, we made a project wallet for the first class. And then Sarah did a snail rail quilt, which was, I don't know whether you've seen the pictures. Have they gone up on our main page? I didn't know whether they went up on the main page or just the retreat. But some amazing quilts. People have some amazing colour. They see it, colour, different to anybody else. You know, I know I like a rainbow, but I don't add. They had coloured swirl, but then they put a coordinating fabric with it, and the ones that people chose were amazing. Right, so we've put them right sides together. We're going to now sew round there. Okay, so I'm back over here. Turn that back out that way. There we go. Right. I'm going to work out which way I'm working round. Okay, so I've taken it back down to a 3. Okay, instead of the 2.5, and we're going to put a bit of a lock in there. We're following the edge there, which makes it roughly 1/4 of an inch. And remember to tidy it as you go. So we've got a retreat again now in November, and then the next one then is April in Bowden Hall. We're looking at doing one maybe further north, but it'll all depend on whether we can find a suitable venue for that. So keep your eyes peeled to our social medias for that. And at the moment we're trying to get through some of the quilts that we have sitting there ready for quilting. So hopefully we can get a couple of those done, a load of those done this next week. Hiya Melba, how are you? Okay, so we're just trying to get this around the corner. I think there we go, and then we're going to do exactly the same on this side. Take these back with me. Over here. All this moving around. It's lovely and warm here. Normally it's cooler out here. It's really warm. So again, we're going to go over like we did before and make a, just finish it. Now, skip there. So we would do the same as we have on this side. I'm going to speed this up now because of time. So you would go along here, and then I've cut a 2.5 inch binding. So you would then take your binding strip, raw edges together, and place it on the front. Okay, so if you place it so that you're going to end up over here a bit, like that, and bring it all the way round. Now I haven't cut this on a bias because it's all straight edges. I've got 2 widths of fabric to make sure that I've got enough. And I think what we'll do, I'm going to bring this round like this, all the way around. Okay, so here I think because there's such a step there, I would chamfer that. This could be the back. We'll put that bit at the back. So I would go all the way round, sew that in place, and then you could flip it and do it by machine. It's a machine cover. You don't want to worry about it, so you would end up like this. And you would have a binding all the way around, like that. So you end up with, let me see if I can show you now. So that then is going to fit over your machine cover. Now it doesn't matter what you're covering, you know, it's just going to, all I want to do is to keep all the dust out of it so I don't have to keep washing it. So that would stand out, and you can see that it stands up pretty well on the front there. So I'm going to measure that, because I might need to put a frill on the bottom, you know, like a valance that you get on your bed. I might have to put one of those on, so we'll see. But I'll send you a picture when it's done. Any questions? Frozen again. I'm back. So, which bit didn't you see? Did you see the finished bit? So we're finished. We've got a finished cover, and then you would just put your binding around. So you'll end up with a binding. I mean, you could do it all in different colours if you wanted to. So we'll. So there you go. So keep an eye out for what's it called? This weekend there's a raffle. This weekend, and we will be back then next week. All right. Sarah will be back on Tuesday. I don't think there's anything else. I'm going back out in that rain now to go and do another quilt, have some food, and then do the quilt. So I will see you next week. All right. I'll see you soon. Take care, lovelies. Bye.